we own 3 businesses at the moment. We own Scooters Pizza, which is the founding business, the business that I started back in 2000. We then bought Maxis. It's another business that we own, and more recently NWJ. So I suppose some of that, in terms of what Kumaran was saying about focus, is probably what we're not doing to some degree. NWJ is a jewellery business, by the way. And we manufacture jewellery as well down in Durban. But I think that the only point to this is we've grown from 0 to 260 stores in these 9 years, and from probably doing, I think we had about 4 million rand loss back in 2004. We had managed to lose, I had managed to lose 4 million rand of my shareholders' money by 2004. And this year we posted just over 20 million rand profit. And I think, no, it doesn't deserve a round of applause, I tell you it doesn't, it really doesn't. But I think the only point of that is that it points to something specific which we do, and that's around growth. Because one thing I get asked often is, should I go into franchising? My first answer is don't. And I have 260 franchisees. And I think but there's a reason for that, and that is, in South Africa, a lot of people think that franchising is the route for growth. And it typically starts out, you've got a concept, a retail concept at least particularly. You open up a store, it works fantastically well. Your mate comes to you typically and says, this is great. Can I open one as well? You don't have the money, but you've read in Succeed magazine or Entrepreneur magazine. You've read in Entrepreneur magazine that the guys charge a joining fee of 50 or 100,000 rand for a new store. So this is a wonderful way to make money. I get the 100 grand upfront fee. You guys and opens the store, it's fantastic, and I get to grow, which is a fantastic ego boost. But it's unfortunately really not that simple when growing a business. And what Kumaran was saying around strategy, the ultimate objective in a lot of the growth that you do is whether it's sustainable growth. And that really is probably one of the key factors. Now, I was with an endeavour entrepreneur or potential entrepreneur a couple of weeks ago who wanted to franchise his business. And my thought really around franchising, I was quite sincere when I tell you that franchising is not the solution to your growth challenges. Because when you franchise, you give part of control away. So the very reason why that business may be successful in that first retail outlet that you have, of whatever nature it is because you have control. And the moment that you give that control away, by franchising, you're essentially giving equity away. And I'm sure a lot of people will tell you never, ever give away the silverware. And when you franchise, you may not be giving away the equity in the company that you started, but in giving control away, by franchising, you're doing a very similar thing. We employ in our system nearly 5,000 people indirectly. And if you think that they're all about 4,500 of lower income earning, there's some research that says that they have about 8 dependents on average. So what franchising does do, though, within a South African context, is it creates enormous social impact, which is one of the very few reasons that I'm still in South Africa, is that I can actually make a difference from franchising. And I think that the trick for us in franchising has been that when I was studying, I wanted to be a capitalist swine bastard. It was pretty much how I framed my ambitions. I'd done a fair bit of reading, and I did a law degree, didn't use it. And the first thing I learned when I went into my first store was that these are real people. And it really struck home when one of my kitchen staff was assaulted by one of the other staff, and she got hit in the back of the head with a rolling pin and cracked her head open. But she was 22, and she was my first employee I ever employed. And I had to go to her shack, as it turned out. I was 22 and thought the world only existed at law school, and asked her mom to work for us. And that was back in 1996, and she still works for me now. But I think only then I realized the impact that you have as a business person, that you don't only take on a responsibility to make tons of money for yourself, but you have a responsibility to all the people that work for you. And one of the key growth or key success factors in our growth has been that we've always grown people with our business. And as you grow, and we've had I've been phenomenally lucky that I haven't been fired yet. And that's the honest truth, because our business has grown. We're a listed company now, and I've somehow managed to still stay at the top of the pile. But it's only because I've invested an enormous amount of time in developing myself as I've developed the business. And any growth aspirations that you've got, the way to sustainable growth, a very big part of it is to make sure that your human element grows. And I often liken it to does anybody free dive at all? Well, we go on plane sometimes. But that whole notion of having to equalize if you're a free diver, that you've always got to equalize to make sure the pressure inside your head matches the pressure outside your head. And growing a business quickly is exactly the same. Your external circumstances are constantly changing. And unless you are consciously reacting internally to change your company, you're going to either implode or explode. And that's probably one of the, what Kumaran was saying about strategy. A lot of guys think, we're this fantastic company, big bright colors, we eat hamburgers for lunch, now we make jewelry at lunch as well. And it's a cool, fun place to work. But we're a very structured business around strategy. And we're constantly checking the external pressures that are being placed on us by our growth and whether we're able to meet that pressure so we don't implode or sometimes explode. So really that's the, and I've got some other points around franchising which I may get to. But I think sustainable growth and how you deal with it internally is probably one of the biggest learnings that we've had so far.